He heard the sun and the moon talking, and the sun was complaining before the moon, inasmuch as there is a tree that has many branches, fruits, and leaves, and each of its branches, fruits, and leaves has a segula. One is conducive, misugal, to have children. Another is conducive to livelihood. Another is conducive to healing this sickness. Another is conducive for another sickness. Each tiny bit of the tree is conducive to something else. This tree should have been watered, and if it would have been watered, it would be extremely potent, sugal. But not only do I not water it, I shine on it too, and dry it out. The moon answered and said, "You worry about the worries of others. I will tell you my worry. Inasmuch as I have 1,000 mountains, and around the 1,000 mountains are another 1,000 mountains, and that there is a place of demons, and the demons have chicken-like feet, and they have no strength in their feet. So they take strength from my feet. Because of this, I have no strength in my feet. And I have a powder, a dust, that is a cure for my feet, but a wind comes and carries it away." The sun responded, "That's what you worry about? I will tell you a cure. Inasmuch as there is a path, and many paths branch off from that path. One is the path of the tzaddikim, the righteous. Even someone who is a tzaddik here, the dust from that path is spread underneath every one of his steps, so that with every step he is stepping on that dust. Another path is the path of the heretics. Even someone who is a heretic here, the dust of his path is spread underneath each of his steps as mentioned. And there's a path of the insane. Even someone who is insane here, the dust of this path is spread underneath each of his steps as mentioned. And so there are several paths. And there is a different path, being that there are tzaddikim who accept suffering upon themselves. The landlords march them in chains, and they have no strength in their feet. Dust from this path is spread underneath their feet so that they have strength in their feet. So go there, for there is plenty of dust there, and you will have healing for your feet." All of this the sun said to the moon. And he heard all this. The one who had no strength in his feet heard all this, what the sun said to the moon. Meanwhile, he looked at the diamond on a different side and saw that it was written there that whoever grasps that side, it would bring him to the path from which many paths go out. Namely, the path mentioned above, of which the sun informed the moon. He grasped that side, and it carried him away there to the path. He placed his feet on the path, whose dust was a healing for feet, and he was immediately healed. He went and took the dust from all the paths, and bound each dust separately in a bundle. Namely, he bound the dust from the path of the righteous separately, and likewise the dust of the remaining paths he bound separately. So he made himself bundles from the powders and took them with him. And he came to a decision and went to the forest where he was robbed. When he arrived there, he chose a tall tree near the path from which the thieves go out to rob. And he took the dust of the righteous and the dust of the insane and mixed them together and spread them on the path. And he went up the tree and sat there to see what would happen with them. He saw the robbers going out, having been sent out by the senior robber, mentioned above, to rob. When the robbers came to that path, as soon as they took a step on the powder, they became tzaddikim and began to cry out for their years and days for having robbed until then and having killed so many souls. But since mixed there was the powder of the insane, they became insane tzaddikim. They began to argue with each other. One said, "Because of you, we are killed." Another said, "Because of you." So they argued until they killed each other. The senior robber sent once again more robbers. It was also as before, and they also killed each other. So it was each time, until they were all killed off. Until he, namely the one who previously had no strength in his feet, who was up in a tree, understood that none of the robbers remained except for him alone, namely the senior robber who commanded them all, and one other. He went down from the tree and swept up the dust from the path and spread the dust of the path of the righteous alone, and went to sit on the tree again.